Hey guys, today's video is going to be how to prepare for clinicals. We're gonna go through a lot of stuff, so I'm going to apologize in advance if I'm gonna be talking too fast. I need you guys to take notes and also be mindful that this is my rubric that I used when I was a student, so nothing is set in stone. I'm just giving you guys like a preparedness on what to expect if you're going through clinicals, okay? So let's start with the day before. The book. I'm a little biased, obviously, because I wrote this, but I have an intention and motive in why I wrote this is because this is a clinical preparedness, right? These are all the 20 common surgical basic setup procedures that I highly recommend. You don't have to. If not, you can go ahead and go online and research all the common basic surgical procedures. That could be lap chole, lap appy, hernias, all that stuff. You're gonna need to just research it. That's why I'm recommending my book. If not, you have other resources, so you don't have to. Second, wear steel toe shoes. Why do I say that? It's because you're dealing with a lot of heavy equipment in there, and the last thing you want is wear rubber shoes and it gets run over by a stretcher. It hurts. How I know is because it happened to me, and this is why I wear Danskos. I don't really endorse any brand. All I know is that you need to get steel toe shoes, and they're easier to clean. I also don't recommend rubber shoes with mesh in them because you're dealing with a lot of blood fluids, so it's kind of up to you. I don't like taking that stuff home, so have another shoe as a backup when you go inside your car. You change, you disinfect, all of that. Third, make sure your scrubs and your hats are clean and you look presentable. Sometimes the operating room would want you to wear their own scrubs. That's their policy. I'm pretty sure your preceptor will tell you that, so just look presentable as much as possible. Make sure your nails are clean and everything's shaven for the men. I'm telling you, mine always cut really short because ours is very, very strict, and you don't want nobody just looking at your nails and you have nail polish. You will get kicked out real quickly. We don't want that. That's like not good first impression either. So next is ID. Make sure it says your school, your title, which is your student, and the last one for the day before is don't bring too much. I know that sometimes you don't want to eat hospital food, and I do get that because I don't either. Try to bring as little as possible, maybe just a little bag, your paperworks, a little bit of snacks, because not all the time you will have an access to lockers. And remember, you don't work there, so it's not like they're gonna give every single student lockers. And yeah, that kind of happened to me when I was a student. I mean, I brought a big bag and there's nowhere to put it, so that's something to learn. And in our facilities, we don't have a lot of lockers. We don't even have any, like, what do you call that thing where you put the stuff? Nothing. So just try not to bring too much. If it's like your food and stuff, I don't really know what to say. I mean, just squeeze in one of the, I don't know, because I don't know all the layouts of the hospital, but highly suggest you don't bring anything bulky. All right, let's get to the bulk of this video. The morning of your clinicals. Please be on time. Be on time. Ours, when I was a student, we had to be there at like 6:30. Yeah, 6:30. Everybody has to come together, and then we would go in the OR together, because huddles are typically 6:45, and you want to be in the huddles. At least in my team, we had to be in the huddles, so we want to know what's going on and stuff. And you get to look at the board, and your preceptor will tell you where you're going and whose tech you're going to shadow that day, and the case, obviously, and the room numbers, all of that. So get on time. pay attention, okay? All right, while you are in your assigned rooms and you are assigned a tech and you've never worked with this tech before, obviously it's your first day, introduce yourself. Let them know who you are, that you're a student, and that this is your first surgical case. Let them know. Tell them about yourself a little bit and just strike conversation, make that first impression, because remember, we're trying to build your contact. That way you can use them as a reference when you're applying for jobs. Okay, that's the point, right? All right, follow your lead. You do what they say. You don't argue. If you're contaminated, you're contaminated. Do how the Romans do. Just take constructive criticism. Yeah, because you're being watched. Your attitude is being watched. How you respond is being watched. Pretty much, you're being watched by not even just your tech. You're also being watched by the nurse, by the anesthesia, by the doctor, by the PA, the resident, the charge nurse. You don't even know. You're walking down the aisle and you see the assistant director and you don't even know who that is. So you're being watched, okay? Watch what you're doing and always be courteous and very helpful as much as possible. Ask questions. This is where you get to know the tech. If they're letting you set up, talk about the tips and tricks. This is how you learn and get to know people and how their calls are set up, how their surgeries are set up, their experience as a tech, and certain things like how come your setup is like this versus this. You would learn so much just by asking questions. Obviously don't be like, if the tech is obviously giving you hints like, come on, I don't have time for questions. You got to pick up on that, okay? We just got to move forward and just get to know that tech, because if you're going to be scrubbing with this tech the whole day, you're going to need to just go with the flow, okay? Absorb all their tricks and tips, because one day you're going to build your own setup, okay? Not everybody's setup is good. I'm just gonna say that up front. When I was a student, there's definitely things that I did not like, but I have to follow it because that was my lead. I didn't want to be disrespectful and say I don't want to do that. Don't be like that. You just have to absorb everything, and then once you're very comfortable, you could set it up on your own, okay? And what you're comfortable with and what you are okay with doing, as long as you're not violating any sterility. Okay, so then obviously they're gonna make you either open the case, set up the case. It depends, because sometimes techs would want to show you first and then you do it, or they would just go set up the case, go open the case, right? And they will just watch you. They know it's your first day. They know it's your first surgical case. They are watching you very closely, so I need you to pay attention to sterility at all times. They are watching you. I'm going to say that like 1,000,000 times. They're watching you. Okay? No pressure, but they're watching you. Yeah, I have a warning here. It says they understand that you're a student, but you kind of have to pick up the pace if you're taking longer than 30 minutes to set up. This varies by tech, but I want to give you a heads up. Most cases starts at 7:30 and you get there at 6:30, and huddle would be 6:45. So by the time you get your case scar and open, it's already like 7:15 and you still haven't counted. So kind of pick up the pace there. And I know it's your first time, and I know that it's your first surgical case, first surgical setup. It's okay, but kind of move a little quickly, okay? I know that's a lot to ask for a first-time student, but get that hint from your lead that, hey, kind of just hurry up, stop talking, no more questions, just got to do it, because 7:30 case is a 7:30 case. There's other hospitals that are a little bit late, but my facility is definitely on time, okay? And they're going to put the patient in even if you're not ready, but that just delays your counting, and the anxiety level is like up here, okay? Especially when you're counting in a hurry and you don't know all the instruments. So that's just a warning. I'm just giving you a heads up just in case, you know, this is what you're going to expect or not. It depends on the tech. I'm never like that with my students, but I do kind of have to give them signs like, okay, it's 7:20, we haven't counted, you know, kind of pick up the pace a little bit. All right, so if you have time and if you did open, set up, you did what you have to do, you put your instruments on the Mayo, everything's good, you have time to break your scrub, research the case, don't just sit there, research the case and figure out what the case is about so that you know, obviously, the anatomy of it, where we're going, what do you think we're going to use. When the patient comes in, I need you to participate in putting the patient from the stretcher to the operating bed, help put the SCDs on, you know, put the blankets, get some blankets, put the bear hugger, you know what I mean? One of my pet peeve is just standing there observing. You're not gonna learn if you're not in the field. I understand that there are some boundaries, but this is where the clinical education comes in. Let me tell you, the other day we had nursing students. They were just sitting in the, like, obviously it's like nursing students, but they weren't even helping the nurse. So I'm just like, okay, we're a little busy here, like the nurse is a little frantic. So I'm like, I asked one of the nurses, can you get a blanket over there? The patient is kind of cold. So she's like, oh, I don't know where it is. I gave her instructions and stuff, and she wasn't able to figure out. Sometimes you just got to go out and figure out substerile. They're all labeled, and if not, there's always somebody out there that could help you. Remember, when you are in clinicals, pretend that you are working there, because we're expecting you to have a job. So in order to, you got to be present while you're in there, because observing is not good, because again, they're watching you. So they're watching that you're just observing, and they're also watching that you are very proactive. Are you getting some blankets? Did you introduce yourself to the nurse? Does your name ring a bell to these nurses? Why I say that is because they interview the nurses, they interview the techs, the doctors about you when you apply for the job. So if they don't know you, if you don't ring a bell, if they don't recommend you because of the skills that you have provided during your clinicals, then you're most likely not going to get the job. That's just my opinion. And so far, that's what the other preceptor I've talked to that drops off her students here, they just assume that just because they thought that they winged their clinicals, they think that they don't need to study for their interview questions, that they would just come in, interview, and get the job. No, she actually didn't get the job. This is for the other student that she was talking about. And I was like, well, why, what happened? She said, oh, because she was overly confident that she thought that she did a really good job, and that she didn't do her duties to research. She just kind of assumed that she's gonna get it, but she didn't, because apparently they interviewed the other nurses and they don't know who she was. So this is why I'm drilling it into your head. Make that impression. Be proactive. Again, people are watching you, okay? All right. During cases, introduce yourself to the doctor, tell them you're a student, you're a scrub student, and that this is your first case, this is your first surgical case. That way they know that if you do make a mistake and that you don't know, it's okay, because you're a student. Now, the most important thing is that when you scrub again with them, let's say the next day or the next case, you have to know what you're doing the next case. So take notes. Okay, I know case, the anxiety level is here. After case, the anxiety level is going up again, but please take notes of that surgeon. I do have a template on my book that you can use right here and take notes, okay? It's only a couple pages here, but I just put it on there like a template. I'm probably gonna come out with a planner that would be associated with this. That way, like, you guys know you're taking notes, okay? All right, so then you'd have to figure out their personality. Some doctors are pretty chill, some doctors are just you know. Obviously there's different personalities in the operating room, from the nurses to the anesthesia to the PA to the doctor. So you just kind of, let me give an example. There is a surgeon that does not like any noise, does not like talking, nothing, zero. He doesn't like it. Okay, the only thing he should be hearing is the anesthesia machine, the suction, and the bovie. That's it. He doesn't like talking. And then there's another doctor who loves to talk. Oh my God, the case is going like 2-3 hours. This should take just 1 hour. You know, if you do have the confidence and you know the surgeon, obviously I could say, hey doc, you know, pay attention. Like, we have a cardiac surgeon that I work with. He loves to talk. He loves Lindsay Lohan. He always talks about Lindsay Lohan. Nothing wrong with about that, but like, while you're talking about Lindsay Lohan, I need you to work while you're talking about it, instead of stopping and talk about Lindsay Lohan and then go. No, I need you to multitask, because we got places to go, we got places to be. We're not here all day. We only get paid up until this time. So, and lunch is approaching, so I'm gonna just okay. But that's only because I'm comfortable doing that. But those are the things that you kind of have to figure out how you're gonna position yourself, right? There's even though, let's just say that the surgeon is very nice, very open, approachable, just the whole package, and likes to curse, I guess, not at you, but like just a cursing type of person, like a funny person. But then the nurse does not like cursing. So then bottom line is that everybody has to be comfortable and professional. So then you don't curse, because as a courtesy for the nurse, because we want to respect that. Okay, again, this is different, so you just have to figure it out. Okay. All right. Obviously, if they're chill, you can ask questions. If not, just keep it steady. Still take notes, because if you're gonna end up there, then you're gonna need to know their preference, right? It doesn't say that on the preference card that the doctor is a jerk. No, it doesn't say that. Okay. Sorry about the noise. Okay. So if you have a good tech, they would not leave you hanging. But if they do, that's not good. That's actually not good, because it's your first time and it's like a safety issue. But if you read my book the day before and you figure out, you understand the setups, right? Then I think you'll be fine. This is where the training happens when you least expect it. I need you guys to be as confident as possible. And I know that's a lot to ask for a first-time student. I get it. That's why I made this book, because I feel like this is going to help. That is very biased. But I had a manuscript, where this came from, which is my little booklet. It's this thick. It was given to me by my preceptor. It was empty, obviously. I filled it out. I still have it. This is, again, the manuscript. This is where I got it from. I still have it because I just like to take notes. I want to make sure that the next time that I scrub with this doctor, I know what I'm doing. I know what he wants, to the specific, to the T, to the way that they like their needle drivers loaded, to the T, right? I think that's what you need to do. That's just my opinion. All right, so be proactive and anticipate what he needs. Again, a lot to ask for a first-time student. However, it's pretty much common sense, right? For example, if we're bleeding, what do? Use a hemostat, clamp it, and bovie it. Okay? If there's pool of blood, what do? You can't see what you're doing, and there's pool of blood. What do? You either get suction, laps, Ratex, something to eliminate that pool of blood so he can see and clamp it, right? If we're deep in the belly and he's asking for a retractor, are you going to give him an Army Navy? No, you're going to give him like a Deaver or something. A long tip Richardson, wide tip Richardson, right? You wouldn't give him a Sense retractor, right? It's ridiculous. You would use Sense for like skin or mastectomy or something like that. So common sense, right? And I understand, but that's why I'm trying to give you like examples. That way, when he's like asking for a scissor, obviously some people, that could be Mayo, that could be a Metz, that could be this, right? You wouldn't use a straight scissor if you're inside the belly and you're not suturing. That's only for suturing, right? So if it's a soft tissue, you use a Metz. But how deep are you in the belly? Do you give him the long one or do you give the smaller one? If you're deep, long one, right? And if you don't know, you give him two of the scissors, like, which one? If he asks for a retractor, can I have a Richardson retractor? Okay, you don't know what size really, so you give him like a medium and a large, give him a choice, and he'll pick what he wants, right? So you don't really need to know exactly to the T what they want on your first surgery because they understand it's your first case. However, you have to be very common sensey person, obviously, right? Because one time somebody was doing a neuro case. We're talking brain. What are the instruments in neuro? Very delicate stuff, very fine delicate stuff. The doctor asked for a rondure, something like that, and then the tech apparently gave him like an orthopedic rondure. Like, girl, we're not in ortho, we're not dealing with like big bones, we're dealing with the brain. And I guess he reported her to the director. It's like, oh, she's incompetent, blah blah blah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, common sense. Obviously that news flew all over the OR. I just keep laughing. I didn't know who it was, but it was a tech. So just saying out there, common sense. Okay, you're gonna develop that along the way, and that's okay if you don't know, but take notes. When you do your first scrub of the day, please do it right. Don't shortcut. Someone is watching you. I am telling you, believe me, someone is watching you. They know you're a student, so now they're like laser looking at you. So please do it right. Do it right, because you don't want to be that student where they're like, they're gonna ask you to come up to you and say, is this your first scrub of the day? Oh, you didn't wash right. You don't want to be that, right? You don't want to be that student, believe me. Moving on, watch your soft counts slowly. Those are your rays, your laps, your needle, the things that are countable, like booties for vascular surgeries, stuff like that. If you see a doctor pack a lap inside the belly untagged, you just kind of say 1 lap in the belly. You say that loud and clear to your nurse so that they can put it on the board. And you pay attention if they take it out or they put more in. Because, you know, some doctors, they just shove everything in there. And you have to do your counts. And if something is missing and they check everywhere, protocol is you better tell the surgeon, because the surgeon got to go in there and get it out. Okay? I've literally experienced this multiple times where I told the surgeon, I said, Doc, I have missing 2 laps. 2 are missing. Oh, are you sure? Did you look everywhere? I said, yes, I did. So the only place that we did not look is the belly. Oh, no, it's not there. Doc, we looked everywhere. Check the belly, Doc. Check the belly. Open it back up. And obviously, you know, temper tantrums. But that's okay. Guess what? The laps were there. I saved the day. So no matter what, work with your nurse. 1 lap in the belly. And she said, okay, 1 lap in the belly. You saw him take it out. 1 lap out the belly. Is this the same lap? Yes, it was the same lap. So now We have nothing in the belly, and then do your counts, okay? And when you do your counting, count loud, because you can't hear much in these masks, and sometimes you're wearing a shield, especially in ortho. Gosh, don't even want to talk about ortho. All right. Another thing, very, very important. Don't cut yourself. Don't prick yourself with a dirty needle. Know the protocols when that happens. I've pricked myself, I think, less than 5 times on a clean needle, because why am I saying the wire? It's not the wire. The needle just kind of snagged on the laps because they were right there, and it kind of pricked me. And that's okay, it wasn't that deep. But I've been pricked once with a dirty needle, is because the surgeon was tossing. She was tossing that needle through the roof, okay? Oh, did not like that. She did not have an assist, and so I had to be in like 2 places at once, and it was just a mess. She wanted me to retract like this, and I'm over here, and she just tossed that needle, you know, and it pricked me. I was so pissed off because I have to get, you know, all the labs and stuff, and, you know, the protocols. So, you know what? Actually, I'd rather get stabbed and sliced, to be honest. With a clean needle, obviously, but I do not want to get sliced, because I feel like slicing, you're going to need stitches. Stabbing, you okay. It's just stabbed, but still. Be careful. Be very, very, very careful. Like, laser focus on where the needles is, okay? Keep your hands off the field if a knife is there. If the surgeon is pointing the knife at you and giving it back to you, just be like, right here, doc. Right here. Right here. Because I'm not taking it. Not taking it. Establish a passing zone, like use an emesis basin and put it right there and be like, right there. Put it right there, doc. Put it right there. And then you pick it up. Easy, okay? All right, so then the last one on this section is, after surgery, you make sure you thank the surgeon. If he says, thank you guys, you say, thank you so much, doctor. It was nice meeting you. Trust me, we're building contacts here. Building contacts. We're making impressions. It's just, I'm going to keep saying it. We're building contacts. We want a job, right? We're going to get a job. We're going to get it. Okay. And then, so those are all, I think, for my recommendations during the case. Obviously, I'm sure there's a lot more, but this video is taking way too long. So then after cases, okay, I only have 2 things in here. Take notes. Use my book template to summarize what instruments you use and all of that. And if you have an extra notebook, write everything. Write everything that happened, from the positioning of the patient, from draping. Draping is a little tricky. The draping that I had a hard time with was orthopedic, because, man, there were so many of them. There was the under, and there was 2 towels, and then a towel clip, and then a split here, and then a split here, and then a drape with a hole in it, and then IU-band. I had a hard time. I'm not gonna lie. So you have to take notes. That's the only way that you're gonna find out. Take notes. The draping, the types of drapes, exactly what he did from knife to the end, to the dressing, and how did he do it, how specifically he did it, the sutures. Literally. Okay, so you got to do that. My book would literally help you, because you already have the basic setups, and you can build on this basic setup. So for example, for basilic vein transposition, I'm gonna show you basilic vein transposition. This is a vascular case. You can use this setup for AV fistulas. Okay, it's the same thing. And then what you build on upon it is his preference. Sometimes surgeon likes 4 hemostats. They like to tag their sutures. You know, that's how you build it. At least your Mayo stand is not empty. At least you get a heads up. You know what I mean? And you already know these instruments. So I feel like that helps at least 45%. Okay. So you get to know the instruments, and you know how they're used and utilized. And taking notes further beyond this, you're gonna through the roof. You're gonna do very well. And lastly, study. Take CST review questions. I post 2 per day on Instagram and YouTube community where you can comment, and you can find some online. I mean, you don't have to wait for my post, but the thing is, I want 100% full engagement on studying for CST review, because I believe after your clinicals you're already reviewing for questions, correct? And then you're gonna take your examinations. So while you're in the clinicals, you want to make sure that you are taking those CST review questions every day. I don't know, maybe minimum 50 or something. I'm not really sure, but that's exactly what I did in school. I go home, I study, I take review questions, I take notes, I research on my cases and why they did what they did, basic setups, anatomy. I mean, to the T, I did all of that. Again, these are just my experience. These are my opinions. I'm sure there's a lot more from other people, but this is just my rubric, and I want to make sure that you guys know what you're getting into, what you're diving into, and nothing comes into a surprise. And ultimately, the first-hand experience is actually being there and being present and doing critical thinking, right? If something is wrong with the bovie, what do you do? If the suction is not working, what do you do? I actually have a couple videos of those on all the equipments that you are going to use while you are in the operating room. So those are the things that you can review. You can look at all my videos in the past. My very first video was the Da Vinci, draping the Da Vinci robot. Oh my god, I had to be trained on that. I could not get it the first time. The second time, I was like, I can't do this. So then I had to film the video so that it was a resource to me on how to drape it. And now look, we have gotten we're almost to 8,000 subscribers. That's a lot of people, and it's a huge community of students, and I'm very, very thankful for you guys. Hello. Hi. Hi. Sure. Wait, where are you? Okay, bye. They're asking me if they're gonna throw the instruments. Girl, what? Stainless steel? You don't throw stainless steel instruments? What are you talking about? She answered her own questions. That was my nurse. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I am 100% so overwhelmed with the support of my surgical guide. I am just mind blown about this community. Thank you guys for supporting me from the bottom of my heart. I always get so speechless every time I talk about it, because I never ever in my wildest dream that people would be interested. So I'm just so thankful. I'm actually restocking my books, so you guys check it out if you haven't done so, and thank you all so much for supporting my videos. I wish you all the best in your clinicals. I do have a couple students, not a couple, like a lot of you are starting in either September and August, and then like next year in March or something. So I want to get this video out as fast as I can, so it's getting way too long. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you on my next one. Good luck on your clinicals. You can always DM me, message me, comment on this video, all your questions. I will be your secondhand resource if you can't reach anybody. Like legit, message me. I'm the person. If not, I have people that can answer your questions. Anything and everything, message me. Okay, you're not alone. Okay, I gotta go. Bye. See you next one.